Hello, we are back to our model. Just to go over real quick a couple things that I missed in the first episode. There was like an artifact from when I drew the model over here. If you go back, you can see that there's like a little line here. But I went and fixed that by editing the mesh. You can see that line over here. But since it's not a part of the mesh, it won't show up on the model anymore. So if you have like little stray dots and things, you can just not include them in the mesh and they won't show up. And the second thing is with the physics, it is under the hair mesh group right now, and you can see even when I move the head, the center of the hair, right here, it's not moving at all, which is why the physics is not moving. But I can actually move it temporarily to be attached to the nose, and you can see now when I move it up and down, that physics node does apply to the physics we did last time. And this time, we're gonna work on this making this earring over here look a little bit better, because it doesn't really act like an earring as it is now. So we're gonna fix that. So we are going to go into parameter first of all, and just rotate it so it looks a little more natural. So let's see. I'm going to put the earrings in a group. Oh, and I also forgot to explain about mesh groups. Basically, a mesh group is a group that allows you to create an overall mesh for all the items inside that group. So for example, the hair, if I went out of the mesh group, I could create a mesh around all the pieces of the hair that would deform them all as one piece. But I could also go into the individual pieces and deform these individual meshes. But for now, we're gonna do this earring. Let's create a mesh group and move the pieces of the earring into that mesh group. Actually, first I'm gonna create a node, and then we'll put a node. Okay, so we have this node. Actually, first of all, okay. There we go. So we have a node here, and we're gonna move the node to where we want the thing to rotate to. And then we'll fix it. And then we'll put the mesh group under the node. And we can go ahead and fix it to where we want it to go. And now when we rotate this node, you can see it rotates more or less from that point. I can actually probably put it to well, you can't edit a node well you've got objects in the group, so I'll leave it there for now. But we'll focus on just making the earring look more natural. Let's take this and rotate it, so it's always sort of should be rotating it from the node. I went through the effort to make the node and then I didn't use it. Okay. Maybe we'll forget the node for now. Just as for I'll do a better explanation of the nodes later, but for now we'll just do it this way. I'm going to move the earring to where we want it to be for hopefully facing up and down. There we go. And now we're going to apply some physics to this earring. So I'm going to make a new parameter. You can use the same parameter as for the other physics, but since I want the hair and the earring to move differently, I'm going to go ahead and make a new node or not a new node, a new parameter for that. Oh, and I wanted to make a 2D parameter. I'll leave this here because we'll use it for something else later. But for the earring, let's start by making it swing to the left. So I am going to go ahead. We have our vertex tool, which will allow us to move one vertex at a time. And we have our brush tool, which will, if we deselect that vertex, will move the whole thing kind of around. But we also have our path deform tool. And if you see up in this corner, we've got a couple options. We can define the paths, we can transform the paths, and we can set a rotation center. We also have the option to move points around the path, along the path, but I couldn't think of an example for how to use that. For now, we're just going to create a path by double-clicking along the object that we want to move. You can see we've got this object here, and then we'll go to transform path, and we can move these points, and the object will move along that path. Oh, I didn't want to stretch it, just want to grab. I've kind of messed myself up by putting, there we go, it was behind the transform node, so this is not what I wanted to do. I'll just make it look a little more like it's swinging this way, and then we will set from mirror horizontally on the other side. Now, admittedly, I'm not completely sure how the paths work after you use them for the first time, because as you can see, there was the green path and the blue path, and the green path is where we moved it to, and the blue path was the original path. And I think you can just move the points to the new path, but I'm not sure exactly how it works yet. If you are also confused and you're not sure like how to move those points, you can also just click off to the vertex tool and make a new path. But for now, I've just moved those points to roughly where they ended up. And I'm now to adjust the earring so it looks a little bit more like it's swinging upwards. And this is not a tutorial on the exact proportions to use for your model. This is just a tutorial on the tools Inochi has and how you can use them, and then you can go forth and look up tutorials on more exact things like proportions and more not physics necessarily, but like the motion of things. I'm gonna rotate this a little bit, and we'll move that that part in the end. For now, let's go back to finding the path. See, this is what I mean by I'm not completely sure how this the paths work, but we can just click off of it and make a new path. And we'll have it kind of coming down toward this corner here. Oh. I think it's stuck on defining the path. So, and for setting transformation center, you can click on a point, and then when you transform the path, it will rotate from that point. I'm not sure why it's not sometimes you can create the path under transform path instead of under define path, and then it doesn't like to work. But we'll just make a new path. And then we can set the rotation center to this one. We go to transform path, and then it'll turn green, and we can go ahead and use it. But this will set the points to be locked to that rotation center, and to get rid of it, we can just click on it again. Just gonna make it stretch it out a little bit. That looks pretty good. Doesn't have to be perfect. Again, this is not an exact tutorial on how to make the exact proportions to use to make your model move. This is just how to do things in Inochi 2D. You can see that since I moved the parameter here, that I put a setting there, it automatically kind of interpolated a new position for this one, but we can just right click on that point on the map and hit reset, and it will go back to the original position. I'm going to do that for all three of these. And I'm going to squash and stretch a little bit here. Now we can see we have some motion for this side. Now we'll go ahead and move this point to where it's supposed to be. There. There. And we'll go ahead and reset that one again. Oh, no, we don't. Well, since we've already moved this object, we can't just reset the node, or not the node, whatever this point is. We can't just reset this point because it'll also get rid of the transformation that we've done to the original, the other piece. So what we can do is go to the piece that we do want to reset and just right click there instead. And reset that there and move it to where we want it to be. Reset that, move that up a little bit, and then we'll set from here for all these pieces. Set from here, horizontally. There we go. And now we will create another physics node, and we will go ahead and move that parameter to the parameter option here. After that, I messed around with the physics a little more until they were the way I wanted them, and I also made the model face to the left. I didn't really record commentary for making the model face left because I was using the same tools that I already introduced in part 1. This isn't really a tutorial on the exact proportions to use for your model, just the tools that Inochi 2D has to let you move your model around. So there are certainly better tutorials out there on the exact proportions to use to make your character's face left or right, and once you have the toolset for Inochi 2D, you can start applying things that you learn for other software like Live 2D, or even just basic like art and animation concepts. Again, this isn't really a tutorial going into all those details, it's just a tutorial on the tools that Inochi 2D has to implement those skills. But I did want to leave it in just in case anyone wanted to take a look at it, and after I'm done with this sort of like speed rigging, we'll get back to some more Inochi 2D tools and how to use those. After I finished making the model look to one side, I made it look to the other side, and I tried to explain what I was doing, but I did a really bad job. And also, my recording software crashed, so I'm going to try to explain it again better, because I want this tutorial to be comprehensible and relatively simple, and I just don't think I did a very concise job of explaining what I was doing. So I'm going to import some new pieces, and I will tell you how I'm importing those pieces, and I will also go over and hopefully better phrasing how exactly to mirror your model so it looks left and to the right. Alright, so we are back in Inochi 2D. I made some new pieces and we're going to import them. So currently, if we go up to the corner here, you see that we have an option to merge. We have an option for a Photoshop document and a Creative document. Theoretically, you should be able to import a document just like you did with the initial model with all of the layers in it. But currently, the program has an error. We'll try to put numbers that don't exist, like infinity, into your file, and it will break the model. So I know they are working on fixing it. For right now, don't use merge Photoshop or Creative document. You want to merge image files. You want to export all your new pieces as individual PNGs, and then you can import it that way, and that won't break your model. I know they are working on fixing it so you can import cron PSD files and merge them in, but right now just do individual PNGs because you don't want to put numbers that don't exist into your model. So I made some little wings for this guy to demonstrate how to do flip pairings and making the model look left and right symmetrically. So you can see I've already done that for the head, but I did not explain it very well, so I've brought in some extra pieces to go over how exactly to do that. So first I'm going to do a mesh for the wings and go ahead and apply that. And again, we're going to go to the piece that we want to apply the mesh to, or copy the mesh from, and drag it down to this corner here. So I'm dragging the one that I've already meshed, which is wing 1, onto copy mesh while I'm clicked on wing 2. And go ahead and flip that horizontally. I will, yeah. Now we have two pieces that are mirrors of each other. And I will go ahead and arm this parameter and have the model look one way and edit these. Oh. I think because it's just saved as like a 500 by 5 or 3. I think my image is actually 3000 by 3000. It's giving me a pretty wide box to work with, but that's okay. You could of course put a node here and it would rotate from that point. Actually, why don't we do that? Why don't we do that instead of doing things the difficult way for ourselves? I'll go ahead and remove the wing and add a node for each of them. First, don't forget to position your node before you put any objects in it. I think that's the first node again. Yep, move that node there. And move the wings to where they're supposed to be. And now, I will go ahead and rotate these. And then also, after I rotate them, I will make sure they're layered correctly. Because as you can see now, they're just on top of the other layers. Okay. And I will deform them a little bit. Just very move them out a little bit more. And let me fix the... So I'm just going to rotate that a little bit more. Okay, let's fix the layering on these. So let's go down, and I think I also fixed the layering on the earring, if you see here. When it looks forward, the earring's in front of the cheek, and then it goes behind the head. And that is because you can make sorting apply to the parameters too. If I look in here, and I'm on earring layer, so I am under the arm parameter option now. You can see that the sorting, when it's to the side, is on 1, and when it's in the middle, it's on 0. So basically, the higher the number, the lower it will be in sort of the layering table. So this object, the earring, when it's at 0, it's in front of the head, and when it's at 1, it's behind the head, because I believe the head is also at the value 0, so when we put it at 1, it's a higher number, so it goes behind the lower number. And I know that's a little bit confusing, but you'll get used to it if you do a lot of layering edits. But we don't want the wings to only be behind sometimes, we want them to be behind all the time. So we will go out of arming parameter, and we will edit those. So we want it to be a higher number. Let's do, yeah, 100 works. We'll just do 100 to make sure that it goes behind everything else. You can see now the wings are behind all the other stuff, but they only move when we look to this side. And that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to show you how to make these wings be deformed in the same way on the opposite side. Okay, so let's go ahead and arm the parameter. And first we'll go up here to flip pairings. Actually, first of all, we will name these. So let me go out of arming parameter again. So wing 1 and wing 2. And we will go ahead and make a flip pairing for both the nodes and for the wings themselves. Let's save that and then go into arming parameter. So let's say I have this wing right here, and I have that with the other wing inside a mesh group. So I will actually... Okay, no, I won't make a mesh group because you would have to deform the mesh group. If you put objects that you want to be symmetrical in a mesh group and then deform the mesh group, you can just mirror it horizontally. So for example, if I do like the snout is just one object, so I was able to just mirror that horizontally by right-clicking and mirroring it. But the wings are two different objects, and they have not been deformed as a mesh group. They've been deformed individually. So what I'm going to do is go down here, and I'm going to right-click on one of the wings, and I will go to the position that I want to set it in. So I'll right-click on the wing, I'm going to go to copy to, and so this is the node for wing 1. I'm going to copy it to the node for wing 2. It is this one. And then I'm going to go to set from mirror horizontally. And as you can see, this wing is now in the same position as this wing was on the other side. And we'll do that again for the other wing. We'll copy it to the node for wing 1. And I will go ahead and set from mirror horizontally. And see. Oh, I think I got rid. What happened to the first wing? That's okay, we'll go ahead and do it again. Copy to node for wing 2. And we'll set from mirror horizontally. And we'll go ahead. There we go. So I just set them both from the horizontal mirror, and now it works. But there's also some deformations that we applied to those, and we will go down to the actual layers for that object and do the same thing. Copy it to the flip pairing and then set from mirror horizontally. And again, copy to flip pairing and set it from mirror horizontally. Now the difference between setting something from mirror and just mirroring it horizontally is that when you mirror it horizontally, for example, that wing, oh, that didn't do anything. That's another I can use that's not already symmetrical. Okay, so this hair, for example, if I just mirror it horizontally, why is it not? It doesn't want to work with me. Mirror. No, okay, maybe not the hair. Oh, it's because it's in the middle. Okay, so if we do the hair, go to the side, and then where's that layer? Okay. Now if we mirror it horizontally, you can see it just mirrors the points within that deformation of the layer. So it's just mirroring the points within that point. So let me undo that. If I set it from mirror horizontally, it will take this position on the other side of the map. So the difference between setting it from the mirror and setting it and just mirroring it is just mirroring it will mirror that deformation of the object, and setting it from the mirror will set it to whatever position it's at on the other side of the parameter. So hopefully that makes sense. You can see that our wings are now mirrored. And if we go to arming the parameter, they will move around at the back. And I think I forgot to give him some movement at the bottom position, so I will just do that manually. Move the wing down, move that wing down, move that wing up, and move that wing up. Again, I think I just interpolated it, and I will just leave it the way. I'll just leave that the way it is. But if I wanted it to be, if I want to copy this deformation from this wing to that wing, I'd go over here and copy to the correct one. I know I've got a lot of layers here, but I would copy it to wing 2 and then set it from mirror horizontally. And then it would be a mirror of the other one. And I might as well do the other one while we're here. Since this is just an example model, I was just gonna leave it as the interpolation that it did, because it, like, when you fill in the X and Y axis, it will interpolate the corners for you. But you can also do them manually, and we can go ahead and do that. Again, copy to the correct one, which is, what is it, the correct one? Yeah, we want, okay, so we will copy it to wing 1, and then set it from here horizontally. Oh, I think I did something wrong, which is to be expected, because I'm not the best at keeping things clear. I think I might have done it backwards. Or maybe it's just odd in the middle. Hold on. Let me reset that there. Yeah, I think I copied it the wrong way. But it's okay. We can just do... Nope, that's the wrong one. Hold on. Go to wing 2, copy it to wing 1, and then set it from mirror. I think that's right. It's a little hard to tell because the deformations are pretty similar, but basically when you have a flip pairing, you want to right click, copy to the other part of the flip pairing, and then set from mirror horizontally. And that should, hopefully, without too much fuss, give you a mirror of your current settings for that piece on the other side. You may also have to mirror it horizontally after you set it from mirror. I'm not sure why, but if it looks odd, just try mirroring it horizontally. Mirroring things is confusing, but I hope that was clear enough to explain how it works. Because now you can see our wings are mirrored. But let's say we don't want this little guy to have wings all the time. What we're gonna do is take this parameter here that we added earlier, that is just a 1D parameter from 0 to -0, or -1 to +1. And we're gonna go to our objects. On one side we're gonna have it at full opacity, on the other side we're gonna set that opacity to 0. And do the same thing with the other wing. And now we have a slider for the wing opacity of those wings, and you can set that for any object that you don't want to be visible all the time. And we can set a toggle to that later when we add some blend shapes in session and hook this guy up to some movement. Well, in terms of like tracking. But for now, I hope I did an alright job of explaining how flip pairings work, and I hope you understand now how to make your model look from side to side. Just in case, I think we should do it one more time. So, let's see, we'll take the wings, and we'll unset that, and unset I think, do I have, yeah, I have them named backwards. Hold on. That might be why I'm getting myself confused. Okay, so just to go over this one more time. We'll temporarily unset the position for wing 1. We want it to have that same position as wing 2 has on this side. So we will take wing 2, copy it to 1, and then set wing 1 from mirror horizontally. And it will be now be in the same position as the wing on the other side. You can see if we mirror it horizontally, it just mirrors the position of the points within that within where it's set here. And let's set wing 2, again copy to wing 1, and mirror horizontally. There we go. Now they are mirrored. Again, I hope that wasn't too confusing. I know that mirroring things and flip pairings can be really, really hard to get a hang of, but I hope I explained it in a way that made at least enough sense for you to get a hold of it. I'm gonna end this episode for now, and next time we will make this guy blink and open their mouth and maybe get to adding some blend shapes so this guy actually tracks like this little guy in the corner. So thank you for watching. I hope this was helpful. Again, I'm sorry if it was confusing. If you have any more questions, please join the Inochi Discord server. There are a bunch of lovely people there who can help you out. And if you want to try to leave a comment, I will do my best to answer it. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you. I will be back with a part 3 for adding some more to this little guy.